Welcome in, gang. Coach has a proper episode for you. We're just going to go rapid fire because it's a bunch of little stuff. So first, one of the reasons Coach felt really good about the Miami game last night is, of course, we have the Sixers winning the finals. The Sixers' curse seemingly started with Moses Malone. Okay, there's a bunch of ways we want to look into that. Coach just off the top of his head realized we should probably look at Sam Malone from Cheers. I feel like we already tackled that, but we'll circle back just in case. But anyways, the president... Moses Hershko of Hershko Development apparently dropped like $350 million into Miami. So that was good. And then Eric Moses is the executive director and CEO of Fiesta Sports Entertainment, or Foundation, which, the Fiesta Bowl, which hosted Ole Miss in Miami. So Coach was like, okay, so we got a Moses connection there. That's probably really good for Miami to win the Fiesta Bowl. We already had Miami winning the Fiesta Bowl, of course, and a bunch of other connections because we had seen them win it before. It just kind of seemed weird having Ole Miss win the Fiesta Bowl. Now, Coach was looking into Don Terry Poe because Coach was like, the dude had to play for the Ravens, right? Because, of course, they're named after Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. But he did not. So I was like, I got to dig. I got to find something. Well, one, he was compared out of the draft to Haloti Ngata, which, of course, is like synonymous with the Ravens. But even better, he was compared, his background compares to Michael Orr of The Blind Side, which, of course, a Raven, and I think that was Ole Miss. Now, Coach likes this one a lot, so we got Charles Barkley, Chuck Barkley, right? Dr. J-Rock's Chuck Taylor's, and Allen Iverson is Bubbachuck. What's going on there? Right? It's just something to think about. We should probably check in old Chuck Norris. Now, what do we got going? Oh, this is hilarious. So Coach was sniffing up the SMU stuff, and Coach actually has some bad news for SMU fans and a big prediction for them as well. So, but on the way, going down the Eric Dickerson trail, I found Dennis Erickson, Hall of Fame coach, which Cristobal played under. I thought was so funny. So we're looking, so of course they lost to Eric Dickerson's Mustangs this year. That was the loss that people thought ended their entire season. They somehow bounced back, right? But once again, Eric Dickerson and Dennis Erickson. Coach thought that was absolutely hilarious. Now, so another reason Coach feels really good about the Steelers beating the Broncos is I just don't think the Broncos are going to get the run game going. It seems like the Steelers did an excellent job stopping Derrick Henry. The Broncos are without J.K. Dobbins, so they're going to be relying on R.J. Harvey, who's not even a true running back. He was a dual threat quarterback that they converted. He's more of like a Sproles type or something, in my opinion, not somebody you want like doing workhorse duty. So I just think they're going to get stuffed, and Nix can still get his yards, but if they know he's passing, putting a bunch of pressure on him, it's just going to be too much. Aaron Rodgers, if he gets a clean pocket, he should be able to take advantage of that situation. So that's what Coach has there. Now, I think it's another tell that they're going against. So, of course, we got T.J. Watt going against J.J. Watt's team this week in the wild card. Well, assuming the Steelers and Broncos are going to match up, they have center Luke Wattenberg. Let's see. Oh, hold on. There was something good there. Oh, I thought it was interesting. So we know the Rams were owned by Irsay. His son, the Colts owner, Irsay, just died this year. The Colts brought back Phillip Rivers. Well, the Rams have Ronnie Rivers. This is really good, right? So we know George Blanda was the oldest quarterback to ever play. I didn't know he was with the Raiders. Doesn't make a lot of sense why Tom Brady's there. So let's do the big SMU predictions. I don't have a slide or anything, right? But this deserves its own video because just going to hit it here and do a big dramatic title. So SMU got the death penalty, of course, right? And Coach was foolish enough for a second to take SMU winning the championship this year. Coach is never going to do that again because Coach says SMU football is cursed for eternity. You don't come back from the death penalty. They're the example of why the penalty is far too harsh. You should never do it. If they bounce back and win a championship, then what's to keep them from bringing back the death penalty? Either another team's getting the death penalty or SMU never wins again. Right? And, if you're an SMU fan, you can't like those odds. Right? So if another team were to get the death penalty, it'd probably be Miami. So it's not like impossible. But to me, I think the story is exactly perfect as is. Big powerhouse, gets the death penalty, never wins again. So I'm not taking SMU football ever. Dead serious. They're dead to Coach. Now, there is something else going on. SMU basketball happens to be ranked 23rd. And that's a rise of 2 spots from last week. Coach thinks SMU basketball might be a really good face to win it all. They got the Larry Brown connection, which is very suspicious to Coach. So SMU basketball is actually Coach's favorite to win it all. And when I was looking at teams they could beat, for some reason, all I can remember is Houston, but that's not who I was going with. Let's see. NCAA men's rankings. Here we go. That's what we want. Nebraska. Coach thinks we're getting SMU Nebraska because of Terrence Crawford being from Omaha and getting over. I know it's super flimsy and weak, right? But with the retirement and in Miami having beaten Nebraska in football the last time they won it, I think it makes sense with them having a top 10 ranking. As far as you go down the list, of course, you always got to consider Duke, right? But, first, we just don't want Duke to win ever, right? But there's just not a great reason to. We got Elton Brand, but you're always going to have some people from Duke. Of course, J.J. Redick, maybe it is Lakers, Sixers, but I still like Sixers, Clippers better. And, of course, you got Kyrie Irving went to Duke, Julius Irving, we got to at least consider them, right? But I think it's very suspicious, right? To me, if I'm the ACC, SMU football and Miami football, those programs are bringing the conference up, right? They're overachieving, right? Landing Miami from the Big East was a huge score. Same with when they got Tech and all that sort of stuff, right? ACC was always known for basketball. So to me, SMU basketball and the other team I just mentioned that I now can't remember, right? They more gain from the branding and TV rights of the ACC, right? SMU basketball, they're to Coach pretty much nothing, but it's they're in the ACC. If they manage to hang in there and maybe even win the ACC tournament, why not? Now, to me, I don't think it's that big of a stretch when I've seen teams like Maryland and Virginia win it when I was hot on them. We got to actually look at what's going on with SMU. But Coach thinks, with all the Eric Dickerson stuff went around, if they are cooking up SMU, this is pretty much the only sport I could see where it would actually be fun and matter. And, of course, there's a lot of teams that want that championship, right? There's only one to go around. We'll have to see who the fix is really in for. But that's Coach's leading candidates. He likes SMU and Nebraska. As far as other teams stand out, like I said, Duke, the Fab Five, but it just seems, Michigan got their football title recently. I don't really think they need it in basketball. UVA feels like fool's gold there. Kansas, we've got Embiid winning it. They're definitely a strong contender. But to me, Nebraska's the one that seems out of place in a good way, right? 14-0, they could be number 4. Why are they 10th, right? They're saying the strength of schedule is not that great, I guess, right? But to me, That's suspicious in itself. I think Vanderbilt is an Indiana school. I looked at the Final Four, and it's being in Indiana. Maybe that's a team we should look really close at. Of course, we like the Spartans because of the Portsmouth Spartans. I don't care about Alabama at all. Texas Tech, assuming Indiana's team loses. Well, I mean, I guess you'd still have Phil Knight, and that's a Bob Knight connection. Like, sure, I could buy Texas Tech going kind of deep. Arkansas doesn't really do anything for me. Illinois, I kind of expected to be there, so they're on the list, but there's just nothing that really stands out except the Bears hosting the draft, and being in the playoffs. UNC, I mean, they got to get something, right? Because Belichick was so bad. But, like, an ACC championship and not really doing much in the tournament would be fine. And SMU somehow finds a way. That would work. Georgia, man, I just don't care that much. It's hard to buy it. I'm sure they'll probably win a game or two in the tournament, but not that scared. Iowa, they're interesting. I would buy them more than probably some of those other teams. Louisville, I mean, like I said, we got to obviously take a look at all of them. But to me, the only one that's like actually generating heat is Nebraska and SMU. But let me know if there's some teams that have caught your attention for various reasons. Maybe you know a player that's really taken over, the league, or you really like a specific coach who's paid their dues. Let Coach know whatever you're thinking. We're just now turning our attention to college basketball because we feel really confident about our college football picks. We're so close to the championship, we can kind of look a little bit ahead in Coach's opinion. So appreciate your thoughts. Let me know.